What's up, everybody? Good morning. Tony Cotillo here. Jigsaw's Judgment, and today is Sixers Day, right? We try to talk about something different every single day on this show, right? Whether it be Eagles, whether it be Sixers, sometimes Flyers, right? Phillies. Keep it a little local, give it a little national flavor as well. But today we have to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. My man Joe checking in said they better be all in. Listen, Joe, I completely agree. We're gonna get this. This is all about Doc Rivers right now, right? This is all about my man Doc. It's gotta happen, Joe. It's gotta happen. I mean, listen. I'm so tired of hearing everything else about, Mike D'Antoni. Like, I think we've all agreed that we don't want Mike D'Antoni on this team, right? We definitely don't. A big changes if we take Mike D'Antoni. I think we all realize that. Doc Rivers is the guy. It's simple. It's 100% simple. This is the guy. Don't mess this up, right? Don't mess this up at all. This was a name that wasn't given to us in the beginning, right? Because Doc was still the head coach. Tobias, that's a great point. That's a great point. And Joe, that's something I did not think about. That this is Tobias Harris's old coach. This is where Tobias Harris excelled. This is why we traded for Tobias Harris. So this is the perfect antidote for this team. 100% the perfect antidote. So, think about what Tobias Harris was in Clipperland. And think about how much we've been striving to get Tobias Harris back to the guy we know we traded for, to the guy we knew would be the guy in Philadelphia, the guy we need to be to take those open shots from those screens from Joel Embiid, from those dishes from Ben Simmons. That's exactly what's going to happen if we get Doc Rivers. I fully believe that. Mike checking in. What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy? I got a little early today, my man. Talking a little Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers. We need to get a chant going for Doc, man. We really do. And here's the thing. Sorry for a minute, fellas. I'm trying to share this on Facebook. Here's the thing. Doc should be the only option. Mike checks in. If you look, listen, Doc's not an old guy either. He's 58 years old, right? He's 58. I don't want old ass to Mike D'Antoni, whose system has shown it doesn't always work, right? I want Doc Rivers. Hey, Mike, this is I don't know if you can see. See if you can guess this one, right? This is Indiana number 7. So I'm going to see. It's obviously not Reggie Miller, right? So I'll see if you can guess. This is a real big throwback, right? Big throwback. So see if you can guess this one. But listen, only checking in. Are they all in on him? Rivers let Philly this morning. I hope they are. I'm the real go checks in. I think they should be. Right? Obviously, you see the dominoes starting to fall, right? You definitely see. You see the dominoes starting to fall. You see what's happening right now. Tyronn Lue, who I do not want as a head coach. Tyronn Lue looks like he will become the head coach of the Clippers, which makes sense. He was the assistant. You move on from Doc and you open up the tie. That's fine. Okay, so I think this is down to Mike D'Antoni and it's down to Doc Rivers. And I think Doc spent all day. I don't think Doc's going to make a rash decision either because there's going to be other opportunities open for Doc too. So he wants to go. Again, we've talked about the front office mess. We've talked about how this upper management needs a lot of work. So let's just hope that he wasn't turned off by Josh Harris. Let's just hope he wasn't turned off by David Blitzer. Let's hope he wasn't turned off by the 76ers management. That's the biggest stumbling block right now. It's not about will Doc want to be the Sixers head coach. It's will he want to work with upper management. That's what it is. I see everyone freaking out. Listen, everyone's freaking out because the age-old question is when you have the guy here, you want to keep him here, right? You don't want to let him go. And that's the biggest thing. You don't want to let him go. And unfortunately, though, when you have a guy like Doc Rivers and his stature, listen, he just got fired, right? Literally, just got fired. So I think you need him to take some time to think about this. But I think by the end of the week, something will be wrapped up. And I'm hoping it'll be in Philadelphia. I do. Mike checks in Jermaine. Yes, this is a Jermaine O'Neal jersey. Jermaine O'Neal. Remember Jermaine O'Neal? He was a truth back there in Indiana for a couple years, man. One of my favorite Pacers next to Reggie Miller. But Doc Rivers, 20 years in the league coaching, right? 4 times missed the playoffs. That's it. 4 times. And that's something that we have to look at. And I know everybody's on the Tyronn Lue bagging, right? But here's the thing. Doc Rivers, the reason why I like Doc is because Doc has coached many superstars, right? He definitely has. He's coached many superstars in this league. He's played with many superstars in his day. He knows what it takes to win in this league, right? He definitely does. I remember his wind-up. He had a cotton mouse at the Palace. Mike always seconded with some comments. I love it. Rivers did choke like 3-1 leads, but that isn't all his fault. He did. Listen, he did. But, again, I just want to get to the dance. Right now, here's the thing, man. I want the Sixers to have the ability to choke. Right? I do. I just want them to have the ability to go up 3-1 in a series and see if they can win it. And right now, we don't have that ability. Right now, we don't have anything. Right? And we really, really have to take this opportunity to figure out what is what with this roster. And I'm going to go right back up to it. My man Joe checked in right when we started this segment and talked about Tobias Harris. I think that the Tobias Harris factor is the most important part of this deal. You have to look at it 2 ways. If Doc Rivers is the head coach of this team, he instantly transforms Tobias Harris back to where he once was, right? And if you look at the other factor, if it's Mike D'Antoni, you could just say goodbye to Joel Embiid. So it's what do you want? Do you want D'Antoni, right? And you want Mike D'Antoni to get rid of Joel Embiid and bring in a guy like James Harden and go small, and with a run and gun, run and shoot style offense? Or do you want Doc Rivers to come in and say, listen, I can work with this team and I can make Tobias Harris back to the player I know he was and give him the comfort level that he needs, because that $180 million isn't going anywhere. That's a contract you can't move. So you're stuck with Tobias. So you need Tobias to be that guy. Mike checking in. He can draw free agents. Exactly. That's another great point, Mike, because that's something that, people don't look at. You want that draw. You want those free agents to come in, especially the mid-level stars, the veteran exceptions, right? When you see the guy like Boogie Cousins before he got hurt, went and signed with Golden State. Not only did he sign there because he wanted to win, he signed there because he respected Steve Kerr as a coach. So Doc Rivers brings in these guys. He's the difference between Marcus Morris going to Boston or coming to Philadelphia. He's that difference, right? And that's what we need, because we're going to have to assemble a team with guys that are going to take veteran minimum deals, buyout deals. That's what we're going to have to do, 100%. That is something that has to be taken into consideration. Mike, that is a great point. I think if Doc comes in, Brand will be taking a back seat. Listen, one thing for sure, if Doc comes in, whether he takes a backseat or not, he will definitely have more of a say when it comes to building a roster, because he will have the ability to have that, right? He will definitely have the ability to have that because he has earned that in his coaching career. Andre checking in 100%. Andre was amazing. Andre was DMing me all day yesterday on Instagram, letting me know the comings and goings of this coaching search. We call him A-Bomb for a reason. We don't have Adrian Wojnarowski. We don't need him. We have Andre T. Johnson dropping A-Bombs for Heat Ratio Sports, for the Heat Ratio family. And he was hitting me up all day, told me about basically what Doc Rivers was wearing, where the interview was taking place, right? He had it all. He told me about everything before I even read it on Twitter, which was great. Andre's the man. He got some sources, and thankfully he brings them to us, right? I have a feeling a bad one that Brand wants D'Antoni. I think the opposite. I do. I think Brand wants Doc, right? And I think upper management wants D'Antoni. I think upper management is intrigued with the fact that Mike D'Antoni runs that kind of style of offense. Listen, I really do. I think that they're intrigued by D'Antoni. So I think it's a power struggle definitely going on. I wish we didn't ruin Brett Brown because he would make a good assistant. I know it would happen at this point. Brett Brown, definitely definitely, I think, would make a really good assistant. My man, Tech said, watch that pick. Yo, Tech, I'm not eating today, Tech. I'm not eating, so I'm good. I do got some Gatorade though, so I got to watch my fingers when I open up that cap. But come on, yo, Tech, come on. You want you some Doc Rivers. You know you want you some Doc Rivers. My man Andre, I got a Doc quote from yesterday for the A-bomb. Listen, hit us with the Doc quote, Andre. We're waiting. As always, we are definitely waiting because I'm waiting for this shoe to drop, right? I'm waiting for this shoe to drop. One NBA championship from Doc Rivers. I don't think I've been that excited about this coach since this has come along. Brett was a mindset coach and not an ability quote. Andre, help me out. I'm reading that wrong. A coach like Doc doesn't become available often. They need that. Listen, David, that's 100% a brilliant point. Again, that's why I think people are freaking out that maybe he had left the building without a contract. But you're 100% correct. You don't let Doc go. He doesn't become available often, and that's the kind of guy that we have to get. My man Eric checking in. I love it. The hell with D'Antoni. Yes. Screw Mike D'Antoni. I want nothing to do with Mike D'Antoni. Let's get Doc in here. BB was horrible. Don't want him anywhere near this team. Well, here's what I will say about Mike D'Antoni. I mean about Brett Brown. I think Brett Brown had very good teaching styles, right? And he was very good for the very, very beginning of the process to get the young guys to buy in. He was a good salesman, right? He was a good leader in the sense that he was leading this process along. But once it got to the point where it was time to start to win, you could see his shortcomings. You could see he couldn't do that. So that's what I will say about Brett Brown. Listen, true, it would make sense that upper management wants D'Antoni try to sell more tickets if Harden. 100%. That's exactly what that bonehead Josh Harris wants to do. I can't stand Josh Harris. Number one, Josh Harris is so worried about being on Instagram and showing pictures, hanging out with his boys on the team like he's one of the crew. He needs to stop. Be an owner, write the checks, and shut up. That's all I need you to do. Write the checks, keep the team in Philadelphia, build us a new stadium, and write the freaking checks to get the guys we need here to produce. That's all I want you to do, Josh. That's it. Stay out of the papers. Stay off of Instagram. Stay off of social media. I don't want nothing to do with it. So, yeah, absolutely. I think that's why they want D'Antoni. They're thinking about the merchandise sales. They're thinking about everything that will eventually come to the forefront when we finally get the ability to have fans back in the stands. Mike checks in. It's the same point you made about NFL coaches. There's a reason retreads happen, and he's the top of the list. Absolutely. There's definitely a reason why they happen. And I'm not a big retread guy, right? I'm not a big retread guy. One thing I will say, though, when the right retread comes along, that's when you go for it, right? When Andy Reid got released, right? When Andy Reid got released by the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs jumped right in. The Kansas City Chiefs jumped right in before anybody even had the ability to talk to Andy Reid. Boom, they were like, yo, Andy's our guy. This is who we want. That's the way the Sixers need to treat this. When Doc Rivers becomes available, nobody knew Doc Rivers was going to become available. Nobody. Okay? This was a shocker to everybody. Boom, he gets let go. You need to pounce right now. You have to go get them. You have to. Brett was a great coach to tell you the mindset of play. Yes, he lacked the ability to get the best ability out of the players. Andre, 100%. I completely agree. I love it. Sell the team. I'm not ready to sell the team. I don't want to sell the team. George, Doc didn't choke Paul. Well, that's a good point. Listen, Tank checking in. He has a really good point there because who do you pin that on? Do you pin it on Paul George or Kawhi? Because they came up really small. Okay? They came up really, really small. We talked about this team for Clipperland having one of the strongest benches. I mean, they had two guys in Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams that were better 6 and 7 than a lot of guys, 4 or 5 guys on the roster. So I don't think this was a Doc Rivers issue. I really don't. Paul George was horrendous in that series. And there's a reason why when Paul George gave a State of the Union address, so to speak, or I should say State of the Team address for the Clippers, there was a lot of dissension going on in that locker room. There was a lot of eyes being rolled. There was a lot of, whatever. here we go again. Because Paul didn't step up. PG-13 was not PG-13 in that series. And that's one of the biggest reasons why they lost. Kawhi came up small as well. Those are your two guys. You can only do so much, right? You can only do so much as a coach. You can put everybody in that right position. But if your two stars do not ball out, it's not your fault. I'm sorry. It's really not. Mike says he's a businessman. He has his hat, so many rings. Hard for him to focus on owning the Sixers. 100%. Dave checking exactly on Josh. 100%. Josh is too worried about being one of the boys and actually being an owner. We should have made a move on Billy Donovan. Yes. That I will say. I really, really like Billy Donovan. And here's the problem. That's why I think Billy Donovan, what happened was when he was released, they didn't pounce on Billy Donovan. They didn't even knock down Billy Donovan's door, which showed me that's when they were all in on Mike D'Antoni. That's when they were in on D'Antoni. That's when they wanted D'Antoni to be like, hey, here's the thing. We need to basically take a shot at getting another superstar here. Getting a ton of messages here. Oh, wow. Got some quotes here. Getting some Doc quotes. All right. Where are we at? He's a bit. All right, the Doc quote. Hey, Bon, here's a Doc quote. I'm not a rookie coach, so don't have me waiting to know what's going on. I want to win now respectfully. That's what I tweeted you about making a decision in less than a week. We will see. Well, and listen, that is 100%. 100% our point. And I think that's what everybody checking in here, it's their point as well. They're saying, yo, you need to make this decision now. You need to make this decision now, okay? 100%. So you need to get on the horn 100% right now and get this thing done. You really do. Eric checks in, did they really come up small or is Denver underrated? I don't think people give the Nuggets enough credit. Great D and Wing playing that series. Yes, the Clippers choked, but Denver never gave up. Listen, Denver fought hard. They fought really, really hard. They did. 100% they did. They came up, and they're going to be a really good team for the future. They really are. They gave it their all. They actually gave it their all. 100%. They gave it their all, and I think they're going to be a really good team going forward. Huge loss if this doesn't get done. David, I completely agree. This is going to be a tremendous loss. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's really, really going to hurt because right now, this is the number one guy. This is the guy. I've said this before. This is a historic franchise. That basically, I shouldn't say historic franchise. This is a historic offseason for the Philadelphia 76ers. This is a thing where they are going to they can change the direction of this team right now and not take a step back. And they will do that if they do not get this done. I fully believe that. Andre checking in. Harris knew they dropped the ball on Donovan, so Doc was the best rebound. In fact, Brand wants him, but he feels the pressure of ownership. That's a good point. I like that. I really do. I really, really do. And when you look at it and you think about right now what's going on, we talk about that power struggle in management. We talk about exactly what is going on. We really do. We talk about, hey, is Josh Harris really hell bent on the right guy or the right guy that he feels is going, like somebody said earlier, is going to sell the right tickets, right? He's going to sell the right part of the franchise that he wants. I swear, it's amazing. 100%. Mike says they need to get him in so he can start looking at rosters, start talking about. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Let's get this now. let's get this done, man. Let's get this done. So again, these are the things that are very frustrating for Philly sports because when we have these opportunities to pounce on guys that we know are going to be. Listen, we're not called the most educated fan base in America for nothing. We know what this team needs. We absolutely know what this team needs. And we know right now that this team needs Doc Rivers. We need Doc Rivers as the coach of this team. Really, here's a question that I don't know. I mean, well, again, Mike, give it to us. This is something that you watch what he did in Boston. And I understand that Boston had a tremendous roster. And we do not have that roster right now, right? We do not have that roster. But what we do have is we have two guys that we know are generational superstars. We have to figure out if they can play together. And we have a guy who making big money in Tobias Harris that we could say, hey, listen, can we get him back to where he once was? And Doc Rivers is 100% that guy. They talk to players about who they want. I bet you they talk to Joel Embiid 100%, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not. My thing is, you give them who you want. You don't ask them who they want. You give them who you want. You say, yo, this is the guy I want. This is the guy that I want to coach you. This is who we need to go in the right direction. You don't ask your players. Come on, man. You don't ask your players at all. I mean, it's ridiculous. Remember I told you the mindset of the decision was based on the overall climate of society and sports and the culture of Philly, and that doesn't sound like D'Antoni. Yes, Andre, you're 100%. 100%. That definitely doesn't sound like D'Antoni. The unfortunate part is if those idiots in upper management want D'Antoni. But the longer this goes on, Andre, the longer this goes on, means to show me that they don't want D'Antoni. The longer this goes on, it means to show me that maybe they do want Doc, and that's a good thing for us. That's why I didn't know. I was just curious. Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you're Michael Jordan, obviously Michael Jordan was a big – you watched The Last Dance. He was a big reason why, Phil Jackson is gone. I mean, Phil Collins is gone, and Phil Jackson comes along. I mean, there's no secret about that, right? No secret. So these things do happen, but we're not talking about guys who've won anything. Joel Embiid, to me, does not have the authority. He does not have the stature right now to be able to command that kind of pull. I understand he's getting paid, and I understand he's one of our guys, but he does not have that ability to make these decisions 100%. Check it in right now. We're talking about, I mean, people right now, I'm sorry, I'm looking on Twitter right now, and they're saying, I mean, listen, they're saying Doc left, no contract, right? And at the same time, this is something that you can't let happen, man. This is something you can't let happen. I haven't been this excited about the Philadelphia 76ers in a couple weeks because it just didn't seem like this coaching search was going down the right path. It really didn't. And now we have some energy. Now we have some positivity. Now we have some light. Now we have something to go on, something to keep us excited. Now, here's the thing. Again, I'm going to end this on this. If Doc Rivers does not become the head coach, what happens next? What happens if it's not Doc? What happens if it's not D'Antoni? What happens? I mean, are we ready? Are we ready for that? What happens when it's not Doc? What happens when it's not D'Antoni? Where do we go? Are we now waiting? Are we now trying to find out? Okay, who is it now? Who's the next guy? Just so you know, he's the only see. And here you go, Andre checking in with some great insight here, and this makes a lot of sense, right? Think about it. The only interview that stayed late is what Andre said, right? The only interview that stayed late. That's a big deal, right? That is a 100% big deal because if he's the only guy that stayed late, that means they liked what they heard, right? They absolutely liked what they heard. Now, do I know what happened? Who knows? Do we know why he left? Is he frustrated? Because that could be it too. Maybe he was frustrated. Maybe he thought, listen, right now with what I have behind me and my credentials, I shouldn't leave. Right? Maybe that's what they're saying. I shouldn't leave. And at the same time, I kind of agree with them. Right? I 100% kind of agree with them. Was Doc traded to LA? I forget. Yeah, I think. Yeah, listen, 100%. I'm pretty sure that he was, which is pretty interesting. We got to keep in mind that Doc was paid a crazy amount of money in LA. That's the only concern I have with all the money that's spread around. He was paid a crazy amount of money in LA. You know what, Andre? At the end of the day, it ain't my money. I always say that it's not my money. Someone said he watched the Lakers game with them. Any truth to that, David? I heard that too, and that came from some very highly credentialed reporters like Keith Pompey and Adrian Wojnarowski for ESPN. So I'm pretty sure that's pretty legit. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's legit. They probably watched the game, and I think they probably broke down the game, and it was probably. I think that's very, very smart. If he stayed, and Andre checking in, there's our source. See, David, this is the best thing about the Heat ratio. We have Andre right now. He is our insider, and he's on the inside. I can tell you that right now, 100%. I can tell you that right now. That it was a good thing for them to sit there. And look at this. Andre's even giving you specifics. He watched until 5:22 left in the fourth quarter. So he stayed almost the entire game. A game that was potentially a blowout, right? A game that did not go the way we thought it was going to go. It wasn't like a 1-for-1 punch, right? Joe, did I give you that jersey? No, Joe. I actually bought this jersey a long time ago. This is an official Jermaine O'Neal jersey for the Indiana Pacers. So no, I have a ton of jerseys. But hey, if you want to send me a jersey and you want me to wear it on the show, I'm all about that, man. I would definitely do that for real. David checking in. The Titan Mercer was suspended until the end of the season. We need a COVID party at NovaCare to postpone the Eagles season a few weeks. This is a Sixers show today, Dave. This is a Sixers show today. But I always appreciate the check-ins. I do, because you always make it interesting, for sure. I do know that. I always remember that, right? 100%. I love the comment. Listen, let's just keep our fingers crossed that the COVID issue in the NFL will be broken down and will stay where it's at right now and not blossom, okay? That's the biggest thing. Mike, Sixers game 2021 with the Heat Ratio crew. Let's go. I'm in, right? 2021. I mean, we did it with PI. Let's go right now, and we got to get that. We got to get that going. Joe checking. Scotty Rego, the Sixers got extra jerseys. Tell him Corky sent you. Are you? I don't know if you're being serious or what, but I don't know who Scotty Rego is, and I don't know who. I guess Corky is your nickname. I'm not sure. Help me out here, Joe. I apologize. But listen, go about 30 minutes. You got about 2 minutes left. And last, what up, Trevor? Always checking in, my man. What up, Tony? What up, Trev? My man checking in. Today is all Sixers, Trev. We're talking about Doc or bust. Doc or bust. Can we just say that? Let's put that up there right now. It's Doc or bust. No Reggie Miller. No Reggie Miller. Indiana, baby. Indiana. Scotty is my... Oh, okay, Eric. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't know who he was talking about. Honestly, I had no idea. But yeah, man, I would love equipment manager for the Sixers. Sweet. Okay. Yo, get that equipment manager. Send me a jersey, man. Come on, tell him that Jigsaw for the Heat Ratio needs a jersey. So when Jigsaw's up every day, you can rep that Sixers, that Sixers red, white, and blue, man. Come on. No, Trev, my man Mike checking in tells me he's letting you know it's Jermaine O'Neal. Will Blitzer? That's the thing. Will Harris Blitzer play for Doc? That's going to be interesting. They better, if they're willing to sell this team. They better. 100%. Doc Rivers is overrated. Joey. How can Doc Rivers be an overrated coach? You're going to make this stream go on even longer. How can Doc Rivers be an overrated coach? Can't happen, man. He's only missed the playoffs in 4 years, right? In 4 years of his entire 20-year coaching. coaching career. That he can't be overrated. He's a very, very good coach. He's not overrated. Mike D'Antoni is overrated. If you want to compare resumes, Mike D'Antoni is overrated, okay? Let's get that straight right now. That's what I'm going to say. But Andre says, yes, it's Doc or bust, 100%. Eric, equipment manager, that is awesome, Eric, 100%. Always cool. I used to know the equipment manager for the Eagles, which was pretty cool. He actually gave me a few jerseys and a few warm-up suits. And then one time it was funny. He's like, yeah, I don't know what size they were. This thing was like a quadruple extra large, man. It could have fit like 5 of me, which is saying something. So I had to be like a Trey Thomas leftover or something. Harris didn't want to pay for Labby to be the Devils head coach. FYI, I know, and we will always bring. And that's a good hockey reference, because for people don't know, he's still part owner of the Jersey Devils, right? 100%. So Trevor, that's a really good comment because it's true. He didn't want to pay for Labby. I get it, but he wants to win, right? So I sure hope he wants to pay to win right here. Overrated compared to who? Let's look at the options we have. Absolutely, Mike. Talk about it, right? Talk about it. He's not overrated when we look at the options we have, in my opinion. But hey, listen, Joey, listen, if you feel he's overrated, and we all got our opinions. That's what's great about this show. Just tell me why. Just tell me why you think we're overrated. That's all I want to know. Dave, I'm on board with Doc or Bust, 100%. We are Doc or Bust. Let's get that. We're going to start hashtag Doc or Bust, right? Hashtag Doc or Bust. We go off this show. Anybody watching the show, do me a favor. Get on the Twitter stream, right? Go on this, retweet this stream, okay? And write hashtag Doc or Bust. Let's see if we get that trending. I will do it as well. I like that. Doc or Bust. Doc had talent with many teams that own one chip. Oh, listen, Joey, that is 100% legitimate, okay? He lost in the first round 3 years in a row with Orlando. Okay, lost in the first round with Boston, missed the playoffs the next 2 years, won the NBA championship, lost the conference final, lost in NBA finals. The loss in conference finals, lost in conference semifinals, lost in the first round. Okay, that's what Boston Clippers, conference final loss, first round loss, missed playoffs, first round lost in conference semifinals. So he didn't have a great run in Clipper lane when we talk about getting to the next step. But he's a very established coach. How many times have we made the playoffs? Right? How many times have we made the playoffs? That's the problem, right? Doc or Bust, Heat Ratio Sport. Yeah, Mike, check that out. Absolutely, get that. Let's get that going, and so we get people to hop on. So hopefully tomorrow when we do this show, we're talking about something good and something about Doc coming back in, right? Probably best of the rest. Yeah, and Joey, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, he's probably 100%. He's the best of the rest. That's what he is. I mean, 100%. You look at the options that we have, and Doc Rivers is one. I mean, Doc Rivers is here. Everybody else for me is down here, right? I mean, that's where I'm at right now. So this is 100% Doc or Bust, 100%. So everybody, again, thanks for checking this stream out. We went 30 minutes. Try to go 20 to 30 every day. Again, every single day here, Jigsaw's Judgment. Check us out at Heat Ratio Sports. We just dropped the podcast, brand new podcast on Tuesday night. We just brought the brand new fantasy podcast last night. Go check it out at Heat Ratio Sports. Check out the Heat Ratio on iTunes, wherever you get your podcast at. Please, ratings, reviews, they help immensely. I know you guys watch and you listen, so absolutely. Oh, look at Joey. Props to your Jarrett McKinnon fantasy pick. It worked for me too. There you go. So people are listening. I absolutely love it. Listen, I was a big Jarrett McKinnon guy. Like I said, he is a sleeper, man. He's a big-time sleeper. So, and now he's getting his chance to shine, and he's being very, very productive. So, Joey, thanks for that. I really appreciate it. You see, yes, the postman later. See, Trev, we were just talking about that. Hopefully, that is not a sign of things to come. We will talk about NFL a little more tomorrow. But for everybody, Andre, Eric, David, Mike, Trevor, everybody checking in. I'm the real Go checking in. Joey checking in. I appreciate all the comments. Tremendous. You keep this show going, which is awesome. Again, Tony Cotillo at TCotillo23. Give me a follow. Okay, give me a follow on Twitter at Heat Ratio Sports. Give the show a follow. Ratings and reviews. Really appreciate it. And again, hit me up on Twitter, man. And let's get this hashtag going. Doc or Bust. Hashtag Doc or Bust. All right, everybody, have a great day. Stay healthy. And I'll catch you same time here tomorrow.